Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 17 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new Cricut project or the Christmas theme every day for 20 days. Today's project is this lovely Merry Christmas greetings card, and it's hiding a little bit of a secret because the card front has all of these little cutouts around the words, so it looks like they're almost suspended in midair between the two pretty rectangles. This is a great card to make if you're making lots of Christmas cards because it's fairly quick to come together, it doesn't use many supplies, and because everything is glued on it, it's really flat, so it'll be perfectly cost-effective to post too. It will fit in a standard 5x7-inch envelope, or you can make your own envelope if you prefer. For some free envelope SVGs, check out the schedule page for the Christmas Craft Countdown, then look in the Foundation Learning box for some links to separate tutorials on how to make envelopes, and even a presentation box for if you want to get super fancy. I wanted to have a play with this design, so as well as making it with this blue and silver colour scheme, I'll also share how you can change up the colours in Design Space to get a completely different effect. Here's how it looks with gold and green instead. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas24. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas24 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus lots of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. This is what the card design looks like when it's put into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to get to the stage, check out the schedule page for the Christmas Craft Countdown, and then look in the Foundation Learning section near the top of the page. In there is a link to a separate tutorial and video on how to upload SVGs into Cricut Design Space. The design comes in pretty much ready to cut, but there are a couple of things you may want to change. The first is to add a score line if you have a scoring wheel or stylus for your machine so that you know exactly where to fold, and the second is that you may want to choose the colours. I'll add my score line first by going into Shapes and then the score line up here, and then get rid of this window with the little arrow. Make it the same width of the card, which is 7 inches, and then in the rotate box type in 90 and hit enter on your keyboard. You can see that's now moved it. Then click the card, ungroup the layers by pressing the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel. Select the blue base card, press Shift on your keyboard and choose the score line. Oops, I totally just missed it. And then press Align Center. That will put the score line exactly in the middle of the card. With those two layers still selected, press Attach at the bottom of the Layers panel. Attach is what tells the Cricut where to do the scoring. Then one more thing, go to Arrange, Center Back to move this back to the very bottom so that you can put it in place and check that you're happy with all the colours before you go to cut out the card. This looks nicest when these top bars, the light blue, are cut from some sort of patterned paper or perhaps something with a bit of texture on it. And then for the text and also the little rectangles that go behind the very smallest ones, they look really nice when done from something glittery or sparkly or holographic that will really contrast with your base card. For mine, I'm using a nice bright blue, then I'm using a glitter silver card for all of the grey pieces, and then I have a patterned paper with a kind of holly design on it for these bits. You can make a completely different style of card simply by changing the colours. So I'll just select everything and duplicate so that I can show you. So I could click on this base card and go into the Attach and click on the blue card and try changing it to a dark green. And then for these ones, these will still be done with patterned paper, but I'll make it a lighter green on the screen just so it blends in a bit better. Now the silver doesn't look as great on the green as it did with the blue, so let's change that to be a gold instead. And then also change the two larger rectangles to be gold too. And just like that, we've got a completely different effect from only a couple of clicks of the mouse. The edges of the letters do cut really thin, especially on the long bits like the A and the M, which can make them a little bit tricky to glue onto your card. If you're not a fan of gluing tiny little thin bits of card, or if you find when you're making it that perhaps your card is tearing, then you could try cutting the words from vinyl instead. Either heat transfer vinyl, which you can iron onto your card on a lower heat setting than normal, and you'll probably only need to do it for a couple of seconds, or you could cut it from adhesive vinyl. This works out best in my opinion if you are going to change it to be vinyl, because each of the letters is separate. So what you can do is weed out your excess vinyl, and then you can take each letter as a separate little sticker to go on. So there's no need for transfer tape. You can just do each one at a time. Much easier than putting glue on the back. However, I didn't have any vinyl in the colours I want to use, so I'm going for cardstock. And I also just kind of wanted to show that it is possible to do with cardstock too. If you are going to cut your wording from vinyl, then I recommend changing the colour to something completely different to anything else in the design, just so that when you come to make it, you remember that this one needs to be vinyl and everything else will be cardstock. When you're happy with how everything's looking in Design Space, press Make to begin the cut process. Get everything cut out from your cardstock or potentially vinyl as well, and then I'll show you how to put the card together. Here are all the pieces of my card cut out, and I've roughly laid them on top of each other in the correct position so that I know when I'm sticking all my letters on, I get them the right way up and in the right order. To keep this nice and flat so that it's cheap to post, I am going to be gluing everything, but if you prefer, you could add some foam squares under the bigger rectangles on the top and bottom to give it a little bit of dimension. I've used a really pretty little holly pattern in there, which matches nicely with my base card, and I think it looks really striking with the glittery silver card underneath. I'll start by sticking on all of the little letters. I'm using Barely Art Glue, which I like because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. If you have cut yours from vinyl, then you can just stick them on like stickers instead and you won't need to add the glue, which, to be honest, would be easier. But I like a little bit of a challenge. I'm just putting on a little amount of glue, and then I'll push down very gently because I don't want any of that glue to smush out and be visible around the edge. You can see just how thin some of the bits in these letters are. Very pretty though, cut from the glittery card. Try and line them up straight. The glue does dry clear, so if it smushes out a little bit, then that's okay. Or you can use a weeding tool or even your fingernail to just go and pick up any little bits of the glue that do smush out over the side. Just be careful not to scratch the card itself, and just sort of gently touching the top of where the glues come out to tidy it up. And then it really is going to be as simple as just gluing all of these letters on until I've finished the whole of the Merry Christmas and the snowflake the other side. I'd love to know what you think about projects like these in the Craft Countdown events that are a little bit simpler and quicker to make. It's very easy for me and my team to come up with these extravagant ideas, such as the Santa Advent Calendar from day one, or the Still a Surprise project, which will be on day 20. That sometimes we sort of forget about the simpler projects, but often I find that it's those that tend to get made the most often because they don't need as many supplies or as much time to be able to do. And especially if you're a beginner, sometimes it's nice to have one a little bit more straightforward to get started with. So let me know what kind of projects are your favourite, and if you do like card making with your Cricut, what type of cards do you like to make and what techniques do you like? Trying to get some ideas for projects for next year, so you never know, if you leave me a comment on my YouTube video, you might just see Your favourite being made next year. Trying to talk and glue narrow little bits of cardstock is proving quite difficult, so I'm going to just speed through the rest of these rather than talking along. Now that all my letters are on, I can glue my patterned bits of paper to the silver underneath. Next, let's fold the card down that score line. Make sure my corners are nicely lined up. There, and to get a nice crisp fold, you can go down it with a brayer tool or a scraper tool. It's looking really cute already. You can see through to the inside. All that is left is to put the 2 strips on the top and the bottom. They go kind of in the middle so that you've got a nice even amount of your base colour the whole way round. The top and the bottom are the same size, so it doesn't matter which way around you put them. And there we go, that's my super quick and easy Merry Christmas card all done. So it will stand up beautifully. And then what you may also want to do is, because you can see through, if you decided you didn't want to add your message on the inside because you might be able to see it through when it stood up, you could cut a white rectangle to go on the back and write on the back instead. If you were going to do that, you could then maybe make another rectangle on the inside and add some more patterned paper with a slightly different pattern or colour on it to show through the gaps rather than seeing the same colour twice. And that is my Merry Christmas card in blue. And I also cut one in the green colour with the gold to show you as well. This time the green card I used was white core card, so it's white on the inside, which makes it nice and easy to add a message. Or I might still decide to add it on the back. I'm not sure yet, but I like how that looks with the pop of white behind it. It's not immediately obvious when you first look at the card that it's going to have all of those fun cutout effects. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to make a Merry Christmas card with fun cut-out little sections on the front with your Cricut machine. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more card making and Cricut ideas. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 18 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!